What I'm going to discuss today is about practice of occupational health and safety. Upon completion of this lesson, everyone will be able to observe occupational health and safety policies and procedures in planning for installation activity in accordance with requirements. An information and communication technology or an ICT students should know how to behave when working in a computer laboratory, as well as implement a safe way of accomplishing every task. Safety practices should be learned early and always adhered to in working with any electrical and electronic device, including personal computers and its peripherals. This is for your protection as well as to the people working with you and for the devices you are using. The basis for this process begins with occupational health and safety policies. OHS, or Occupational Health and Safety, refers to the legislation, policies, procedures, and activities that aim to protect the health, safety, and welfare of all people at the workplace. The first one is do not work alone. Do work with others. Do not work alone so that there is someone who can take care of you in case of emergency. So that will be our first rule. Do not work alone, especially in a workplace that is full of hazard or in a workplace that hazard is everywhere. So in case of emergency, someone can pull you out. The next one is, always turn off the computer and unplug the computer before working on it if you do not want to be shocked by the electricity or the electrical current within the computer. Even though it is only a low voltage inside the computer, but still it can shock your body. So always power off the computer and plug out the computer before working on it. Aside from that, it can also cause a damage within the computer components when you are working on it while it is on plug. Okay, the next one. This one. Okay, so always take away any liquid near your working area to avoid electrocuted or accidentally damaged computer parts. Okay, so sometimes we cannot avoid accident. Accident is always there. So it's better to be safe than never. So take away any liquid within your working area. The next one, be careful with tools that may cause short circuit. So always be aware where to properly handle every tools that you are going to use. And to be sure, always use a proper PPE, in using these tools, especially working with electricity. The next one, so always ground or discharge yourself before touching any part of the computer. So we have a wrist ground drop. So we can buy it that online. Or in other ways, so before touching any components of the computer, you can discharge yourself by touching any metals. So aside from the computer, so that whatever electricity within yourself will be discharged. So better to be safe, for you to avoid damage on the computer parts. The next one, so do not use excessive force if things don't quite slip into place. So if it is not, if you cannot able to slip it in, so better to check if you are properly slipping it on the proper place. So do not force it. There's always a proper way to put it on. This one. Clean the area before and after using it to maintain sanitation and prevent accident. This will be always an SOP in our working place. So before and after of our work, so we need to clean our place, especially those from the tools that we use. We need to put it back on their proper storage, and also to throw all the garbage or excess garbage that we use. The next one, okay? Hold the components on the edges and do not touch the integrated circuit parts. Okay? So to avoid these components to be busted. So we cannot assure that we are totally discharged from electricity from our body. So if we hold those components, those IC integrated circuit, there's a possibility that those components will be busted. So avoid as long as you can to hold those integrated circuit parts. The next one. Okay, always wear personal protective equipment or PPE in accordance with the organization's OHS procedures and practices. This will not only protect you from harm, and it will also protect the components or the computers that you are working on it. The next one, this one. Okay, make sure that pins are properly aligned when connecting a cable connector. So always check if it is properly aligned for you to avoid damage on pins, and also, and most of all, damage to the component that you are working on. So there's always a proper way to put those components in every pin. So always check if it is properly aligned. The next one. Okay, so contingency measures during workplace accidents, fire, and other emergencies are recognized. You need to know where is the fire extinguisher located, where is the fire exit located, so that in case of emergency, you know what to do. Okay. Next, in cleaning your computer, or it can be a system unit, or it can be it can be a desktop computers, or it can be a laptop. So use brush, compressed air, or blower in cleaning the computer. Okay? So those are the proper way. There are proper ways on how to clean your computer. So do not use any what we call unauthorized chemicals to use your to clean your computers. Okay. Now there are procedures in handling hazard in our workplace. First, we need to identify the hazard. Okay, we need to know what are the current hazards we have in our workplace. Okay, so first, identify the hazard. The next one is you need to clear the area close to hazard. Okay, then the third one is partition the hazard off or clearly identify the area to protect other people from harm. So you need to protect this hazardous area. So you need to put some signages. Okay, so for you to protect also other people, okay, from that hazard. So if the hazard is easily and safely cleared, then do so. But if not, so if you're not going to, you cannot clear those hazards. So the next thing that you have to do is to report the hazards to the appropriate person, or it can be your teacher in charge, or it can be your principal, to obtain assistance. Then the next one is following clearing of the hazards, fill out the correct documentation to assist in identifying improved practice to reduce further incidents of the hazard. So all hazards must be reported according or using the accidental report form. In this way, it can enable us to track kinds of hazards that we have in our workplace. So, and take action where necessary to make it safer for all student and client. Now, so what are the safety, personal safety while working with computers? So what are we going to consider with in our personal safety in working with our PCs? The first one, so you need to wear shoes with non-conductive rubber shoes to reduce a chance of being shocked or seriously injured in an electrical accident. So don't forget to wear a rubber shoes. Okay, so on foot itself is not advisable. Okay, so you have to wear any non-conductive rubber shoes. The next one, do not work on the components that are plugged into their power source. As I said before, you need to turn off first all the computers before working on it to avoid an electrical accident and also to avoid the damage on the component. Then the next one, do not remove expansion card from the computers when it is turned on or it will damage your expansion cards. You need to turn off the computer first before removing any cards or any component inside the computer. Then, the next one, you have to remove your jewelries when working inside any computer-related equipment to avoid any accident or any electrical accident. The next one, be sure not to mix electronic components and water. Okay? So, be sure to remove all any water or any liquid within your working area to avoid contamination with any electronic components. Okay, guys, when working on a computer, okay, always safety first. Thank you.